Street Fighter 2 is a popular game made by the Japanese in the 1800s, blah blah blah. We already know about this game, so I'll spare you the history lesson. What's also common knowledge about Street Fighter 2 is just how many of them there are. Street Fighter 2 has been re-released for 3 decades now, with the most recent update being interesting, for lack of a better term. On the 13th of January 2017, which is now 6 years in the past as of recording, at Nintendo's official unveiling of the Switch, you know, the event that gave us Suda51 being a legend. Yeah! Capcom announced their brand new fighting game, which was going to be a Switch exclusive. Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Final Challenges. Yet another version of the classic fighting game, but with 2 new characters, Evil Ryu and Violent Ken. This is meant to be the definitive version of Street Fighter 2. To be honest, I completely forgot that this game existed due to no one talking about it anymore, so I thought it'd be fun to cover in the current year. Let's dive into this weirdo offshoot of Street Fighter 2 and try to make sense of it all. Ultra Street Fighter 2's gameplay is what you would expect from a revision of Street Fighter 2, meaning that it still has the classic 6-button layout. This game is based on Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, considered to be the best version of Street Fighter 2, but it does have some new features, like the ability to tech throws. Overall game balance has been adjusted too, with former series producer Yoshinori Ono stating to IGN, "The balance for the original Street Fighter 2 Turbo in the 90s was okay for that time, but whether it matches the times now is a bit questionable." Some might not like these balance changes, but I welcome it due to helping it separate Ultra Street Fighter 2 from previous versions of Street Fighter 2. The game also has 2 art styles, the original sprite-based graphics and the HD artwork like that of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, released in 2008. You can also play with a variety of different control options, including using one Joy-Con on its side. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like a great way to play a fighting game to me, so I'm just going to stick with the Pro Controller. The game has 19 playable characters, 20 if you count the hidden character Shin Akuma, so every character from Super Turbo is here, which is awesome. I mentioned balance changes before, so let's discuss that in more detail. To begin, throw teching does not cause damage to the recipient anymore. The input windows for special and super moves have been standardized to 15 frames. Random damage and stun values are removed, with every attack doing a fixed amount of damage and stun. Every character now has the same amount of stun. Turbo speed is gone, so now there's only 1 game speed to use. And finally, old versions of characters are now gone, so busted characters like Super Turbo's old Sagat cannot be used anymore. There are also character-specific changes, but if I were to cover them all, the video would never end, so let's leave it at that for now. I think most people, especially casual players, won't notice these balance changes if they're just having fun mashing some buttons with friends. So the balance changes are fine to me. This game was never meant to be the competitive standard just by virtue of it being a Switch exclusive, so I like that Capcom made changes. Hey, so far so good, I'm liking what I'm seeing of this game so far. Let's look at the game's overall content now. First up, we have Arcade Mode. This is a series of 12 fights with a final boss fight against M. Bison, but you can also fight Akuma as a secret final boss if you meet special requirements. However, there are no bonus stages in this game for some reason, so you won't be able to break barrels and smash someone's car in Ultra Street Fighter 2. When you finish Arcade Mode, you're giving an ending with artwork done by Udon, the company that does the Street Fighter comic series. These are alright, they're nothing special, but I like that there are different endings for every character with brand new artwork. Moving on to multiplayer. We have offline multiplayer, which is just the regular offline versus mode found in every fighting game ever. Next up is Buddy Battle, which is pretty much just Dramatic Battle in Street Fighter Alpha 3. With a friend or a CPU partner, you can fight the AI for a 2-on-1 match. This is a lot of fun in my opinion, and it's a nice break from the regular one-on-one fighting the rest of the game offers. You go through 4 stages in this mode and fight Violent Ken, Evil Ryu, M. Bison and Akuma in that order. Once complete, you earn a title to apply to your online profile. Ultra Street Fighter 2 also has online multiplayer, with both casual and ranked matches. Ranked matches work exactly how they did in Street Fighter 4, with BP being battle points, a reflection of how skilled you are with that specific character, and PP being player points, reflecting how many points you have overall as a player.
PP.
There's also Color Edit, which returns from Capcom vs SNK 2. Each character has a section associated with them, and you can freely change color of that section to whatever you like. You cannot change the color of your character's projectiles though. Finally, we have possibly the weirdest mode in any major Street Fighter game, Way of the Hado. This is a sort of first-person shooter mode, where you control Ryu from a first-person perspective using the Joy-Con's motion control capabilities. You hold one in each hand and perform gestures with them to throw out Hadokens and Shoryukens to beat all the enemies. This reuses graphics from Street Fighter 4, as it takes place at the crumbling laboratory stage found in that game. There are 3 difficulty levels, beginning, standard, and expert, and they change the number of enemies and their layouts. Honestly, this mode is pretty cool in theory, but it's not great in execution, because the motion controls are super imprecise and often work against you. With all that being said, that's the content of Ultra Street Fighter 2. It's kind of bare bones, and while I wasn't expecting a full-blown story mode or anything like that, what is on offer here is a little bit lackluster. Evil Ryu and Violent Ken are ridiculously overpowered, so they dominated the online scene, causing lots of frustration in the player base, and there's not much to do offline, so outside of playing the game in short bursts here and there to kill some time, I don't have a reason to keep playing Ultra Street Fighter 2, and others agreed with me. Going to the game's Metacritic page, we can see that it has a 66, indicating average review scores. The game got a lot of 6 out of 10s on launch, with some publications like GameOver.com giving it a 9 out of 10, and some like Eurogamer giving it a 1 out of 5, coming out to a 2 out of 10. Saying this game's reception was mixed is an understatement, as you can easily find people who love it and those who hate its guts. Sales-wise, the game did pretty well. Within its first week of release, it reached number 8 in the UK sales chart, number 3 in Japan, number 2 in New Zealand and Australia, and number 3 in Switzerland. It was also the second highest selling game on the Nintendo eShop, only being beaten by Minecraft. According to Wall Street Journal writer Takashi Mochizuki in 2017, the game had sold over 450,000 copies, which is pretty good for a budget title exclusive to the Switch. And according to this Capcom Financial Hearings report I found from July 28, 2017, Ultra Street Fighter 2, which was released in May 2017, made an excellent start and proved to be a smash hit. Going back to Ono for a second, he said in relation to the game being released on other platforms, "If this title sells extremely well, we'll consider it. We put a lot of thought into how this can be fully enjoyed on the Nintendo Switch, so for the time being, it's only going to be on Switch." Boy oh boy was he right, because 6 years after launch and it's still only on Switch. To be honest, I'm kind of mixed on this game. Part of me loves having the opportunity to play Street Fighter 2 on the go and mess around with the sprites and play buddy battle, but other than that, there's not much to do. It feels a bit empty, and I just wish there had been a little bit more content. If you're looking for a fighting game to mess around with on Switch, you could do a lot worse, but still, this game boggles my mind all these years later. I can't even believe this is real. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.